too much. I'm going to give you a little bit, but I'm going to talk more about just an approach to hitting. How you want to get your hitters, your young players, to have a routine and a plan when they go up to bat. Okay? Let's start with some statistics. This is a couple years old, but I think it's probably not too much different. 84% of the time a pitcher's first recorded strike will be a fastball. So, if we know that, that's a pretty high percentage. I'm talking now, we're not talking Major League Baseball. I'm talking when you would be your youth teams, your junior teams, all right? Knowing this statistic, or knowing this number, how can this help your hitters? You know this number, right? Should they be ready on the first pitch? Or should they be, I always love Paul Molitor. Paul Molitor, I think, is one of the most underrated hitters in the history of baseball. I don't even know how many of you remember Paul Molitor. You may remember him being fired by the Twins as a manager, but he was a great baseball player. Probably one of the best base runners ever. But he was a fantastic hitter. I forgot what his lifetime average was. He has the longest hitting streak in the last 40 years of baseball. Maybe more. Thanks. He was a first ball hitter. He loved swinging at the first pitch. Right? So when you know that 84% of the time the pitcher's first recorded strike is going to be a fastball, it helps your mindset, or it should. Ron was talking about mindsets earlier. I want to talk to you about the mindsets of a hitter. Right? Have a plan. Before you go up to bat, you have to have a plan. What's your purpose? We'll talk about this in detail. What is your purpose? What is your role when you're going up to hit? And every time you bat, it's not going to be the same role. You have a guy who wants to hit a dinger every time he's up there. That's his role. Oh, I'm going to hit one on. I'm going to hit one to the fence. I'm going to hit a fly ball someplace. But maybe you want him up. Maybe you want him bunting. Nobody in Major League Baseball bunts anymore, by the way. So, but they should be, I think, right? Because the numbers tell them it's a bad situation. It's a bad deal, right? So you have to have a plan, an idea of what you want to do. I always tell people to use a tactical triangle, right? Wherever you're doing something, as a fielder, as a pitcher, as a runner, as a hitter, you have to know the situation. First, read. What's going on? Reading the situation. Where are you? If you're supposed to be bunting, you got to know what the grass is like. Greg talked earlier about rolling balls down the baselines, knowing what's going to happen on a bunt. All right. So read the situation, apply the knowledge that you have learned from your practices and from previous games, and then make a decision. And when you're hitting, this all happens within what? Until the time the pitcher releases the ball and it gets to you.
3 seconds.
Maybe half a second. 0.6 of a second. All right. So that's a tactical triangle, right? Simple. So here's a sample plan that a hitter could have. Take your sign. Right. Look down at third base. Take your sign. Relax. Read the situation. Okay, what am I? I have certain roles. If I'm the leadoff hitter, what's my job? What's my job? Get on base, right? If there's a guy on base, and this is a lost art, right? If there's a guy on base, because the home run is so bountiful in baseball right now, in the big leagues. But if there's a guy on base, what's my job, really? Move him over, right? If he's in scoring position, my job is get him in. Right? I do a clinic presentation, get him on, get him over, move him over, get him in. All right? That's your role. So your role might change. All right? Be in control. At the beginning of every year, my kids think I'm crazy when I do this. I teach my players how to breathe. We'll finish our debriefing, which is when we sit down after practice and talk about what we need to work on. And then I have everybody lay on the floor. And I do relaxation exercises. I teach them how to breathe, how to inhale, and exhale, and relax their bodies. It's about 10 minutes, right? Some of them try to fall asleep during this, but that's, I teach you to breathe, because breathing helps you do what? It helps you focus, it helps you relax, it helps you get ready. You've got to control yourself. I don't know where I read this. I got this from someplace. By the way, every good baseball player, every one of you in here has stolen. You've all broken the law. You've done illegal things. Right? But that's what we do. What I love about baseball is we share. We share what we stole. Now, if this was a football coach's clinic, or even worse, a basketball coach's clinic, I would not even talk about my plays that I ran as a basketball coach, because I'd be afraid someone else is stealing. But as a baseball coach, look at how sharing Brent has been with you this weekend. Right? We share. We do things to promote the game because we want the game to grow. So this is stolen from somebody, but I don't know who. You've got to control yourself before you can control your performance. By the way, there's a story. There's a guy by the name of Zig Ziglar. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of him. I don't think he's alive anymore. He was a motivational. Where do most of the motivational speakers work in? Sports or what? What do they work in? Can anybody tell me?
Anything that's performance driven.
Performance driven, like General Electric or Siemens. They do business conferences, don't they? They're trying to motivate management people, right? So Zig Ziglar would do a lot of these. I used to play his tapes for my players sometimes. Before practices, they were getting ready, getting their shoes on and stuff. I played tapes. And he would talk about, he tells a story about the first time, like for example, I'm going to say for right now, this came from Greg Frady, all right? First time I say this, I learned from Greg Frady last week that if you don't control yourself, you're not going to be able to control your performance. Now, the second time I give that speech, I say, somebody once told me that if you don't control your breathing yourself, you can't control your performance. And the third or fourth time I give it is, as I've always said, you can't control yourself, all right? So I don't know where it came from, but that's a Zig Ziglar story. Staying positive. The brain does not recognize the word don't. If you tell a kid, don't strike out, what have you said? The brain does not recognize the word don't. What have you just told him to do? Strike out. It's true, it doesn't do this. It doesn't recognize these negative things, right? This I learned from Ken Revizza. Ken Revizza was a good friend of many people in baseball. Passed away last year. Was probably one of the first psychological, motivational kind of, what do you call your people in your organization that do that?
Mental
coach.
Yeah.
Mental coach.
He was
that
our-
sounds bad. I like it.
When we were at Budapest Expos, we didn't have any budget, so Ken Revizza's book was our mental skills coach.
Right.
Because he doesn't have a hotel he has to stay in or meal plan, so it was perfect.
Great book. But anyway, this came from Ken. Ken did a lot of stuff that I will show you came from Ken Revizza. Don't let other thoughts intrude on you. You see a lot of players now, when they get up to bat, I don't have a bat here. Right? They'll get their sign. You'll see them staring at the bat. Have you seen that? You noticed that? Or they're doing something else. They're looking at their hands maybe. What are they doing with that? What's that? What is it for them? It's their focus, their relaxed point, right? That's what they want to do. So they want to don't let other thoughts intrude. The movie with Kevin Costner, he plays a pitcher. I can't remember what the name of it is now. Okay. For the love of the game, right? And they do some neat things with the sound in that film because they have all this crowd noise going on, or something crowd noise. Quiets down. And what does he say? What's his words? No. Focus on the mechanism, he says. That was his keys. Those were his key thoughts. Everything else dropped out. So he wanted to be, not let other thoughts intrude. Bull Durham. Swing thoughts. Perfect. When you get up to hit, you can't be thinking, let's see, where are my feet? My feet in the right place? I mean, these bets, you know, you can't be doing that. What you've got to do is you got to say, you got to just have a swing thought. I tell, you're going to have your own, every one of you probably had your own thought. You've got a thought you're going to have, that's the only thing that's going through your mind at the time. Bring it. Bring it used to be a good favorite of mine, you know. I'm up there at bat, and just bring it. Bring it. I'm thinking that in my head. Why? Why? Why is that a good swing? It's not the best swing thought maybe, but why is it a good one? Why?
Positive, you're ready.
I'm positive I'm ready, and what else? I'm challenging. Bring it. Bring it, babe. You know? I'm challenging the pitcher. That's the thought I want to have. I want to have positive thoughts when I'm a hitter, right? Catch it deep and drive it to right. That's a little too long. I like the short things. But these are things I've heard. Right? Deep and drive. So that first one, I just summarized as deep and drive. That might be a thought. Maybe I've been getting out too far in front of the plate. I want to let the ball travel a little bit more. So I'm going to catch it deep and drive it someplace. Right? Turn and burn. Ron calls one of his drills for pitching turn and burn. Right? Started out that way. I think Tom Hoff started that, didn't he? Terry?
Yeah. Well,
Turn and burn thing. See it, hit it. See the ball, hit the ball. Nothing's going to intrude except that. I'm not going to be thinking about what I'm doing at 3:30 tonight, or what I'm going to be doing tomorrow morning, or a test I've got to take later. Track it, whack it. These are all good swing thoughts. But my favorite one that I've tried to promote with my kids is right now. It's simple. And I learned this from golf. Simple thing. The best book I ever read that changed my whole golf game and my coaching, really, was a book called The Inner Game of Tennis by Timothy Galway. And he wrote a book called Inner Golf. I read Inner Golf first, and then I read the first book, Inner Game of Tennis, because they're both basically the same. It just teaches you to use the right side of your brain. And get left side of your brain is going to tell you what a failure you are. You suck. You can't hit a curveball. That's the left side of your brain. All right? I want to just have just something real simple. So right now it's just basically when I'm saying right now, I'm going to right. I'm getting into my load. Right now. Now is what? What's now? That's when I swing. Right? Maybe it's right. Take. Now you can hear my knee going if you're close enough. You can probably hear my knee cracking here. Right now. I love that one. It's simple. Right now. I'm ready to go. What's your role? Anticipate. Look for a certain pitch. Be on time as a hitter. This is a mantra for me. Slow, easy, early. I've used this a long time ago. I met a man named John Malley, who's now the hitting coach for he was the hitting coach for the Cubs, Phillies. He's now with the Angels. Just got hired maybe 3 weeks ago, right? Chicago guy. He just preaches slow, easy, early. What is that? That means that I want my load. Again, I'm not talking mechanics now. A lot of guys, some guys what? Side of her, what did he do for his load? What did he do? He had that big leg lift. That was his load. It had to be slow. If you do the leg lift too fast, if you do this too fast, whatever your load motion is, if you jerk it, that's bad. So slow. The load's got to be slow. It's got to be relaxed, easy, and it's got to be early. In high school, young kids, and watch your own, they don't load soon enough. I don't have any. I think Red's probably got some on his computer. I should have downloaded some. Center field camera shots. Pitcher, hitter. That's all you see in Major League Baseball games, basically, right? Until the ball's hit. Pitcher, hitter. Watch when a hitter starts his load. In Major League Baseball, most hitters are starting their load at this point right here. When the pitcher gets here. You don't see that? I get up here, I fall over. But, so if I'm a pitcher, major league hitters, most of them are starting to low when the ball gets right there. That's early. When do your players start their load? Where's the ball? It's right here. I can't get my shoulder up that high. It's almost at release point. And now what they've got to do is go boom, boom. They've got to go really quick. And there's no relaxation there. So I try to preach this slow, easy, early. You want to go a little bit later for a breaking ball, but it's got to be relaxed. React. Look away, but always react to the ball in. You cannot be too close to the plate as a hitter, by the way. You can be too far away, but you can't be too close. Except if you're outside the lines. Have the courage to be jammed. Because what is Brent teaching his pitchers to do?
Throw in.
Throw inside. So as a hitter, you've got to have courage to stay in there. You got to have the courage to be jammed. Be ready to get for it. Situational hitting. I talked about this already. The lead off. Different role here for each one of these. I just want to say one thing about the last part. Was it? I think it was the stats that Brent had up on Mike Trout. And Brent, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You were talking. What were you talking about? Trout swinging at.
Yeah, he normally swings about 15 to 18% of first pitch fastballs in the
Right.
zone.
Right.
And it was runners on
But it
scoring.
changes when the runner's on second base, doesn't it?
Runners in scoring position and jacks up. Yeah.
Because what is he trying to do? He's trying to hit. He's trying to drive a run in, and you want to do this early in the count. You want to be able to drive the runner early in the count. Why? Because what is the pitcher trying to do?
Go ahead.
He's trying to get ahead of you. So what do you want your hitters to do? Be ready for that. Don't wait till it's 2-1 or 2-2 or whatever to start swinging.
Why don't you tell them that, Tom? Tell them to wait till there's 2 strikes. Tell them to watch pitches and wait till there's
I'm just talking mental stuff here, Brent. All right. So do it early. You've got a better chance to get a good pitch. All right. Expect your pitch. All right. As a hitter, there's another way of looking at a hitter. It's yes, 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 no. You hear that? That's my knee. Yes, 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 no. Or yes, yes, yes. I'm thinking that. I'm saying it out loud here now, but I'm thinking it in my head. So it's yes, 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 and what happened? No. All right. Off-speed pitch. If a curveball is up in the zone, too many young players take the curveball too much. If it's up in the zone, if it's not that low and away one, hammer that damn pitch. You know, it's easy to hit if it's up in the zone. All right, routine. Be in a state of readiness when you step in the box. I tell my players to get big in the box. That's a phrase you've probably seen before somewhere else. What does that mean? What was it when I told you my first swing thought? Bring it. I'm up here like this. I'm not. Bring it. No, I'm not. I want to get big in the box. I have my players practice this. We do it. It's one of our days of practice. We'll have them talk about this, and the next day they have to show us how they're going to get big in the box. They have to get out in front of all the players and show us what that means. I want them to look ready and aggressive. They're going to get big in the box. I want them to practice in front of a mirror. It's a mental state. I want them to think, I'm in control of this area right here. This is my area. Now I'm a pitching coach. What am I telling my pitchers? All right, that 17 inches is theirs. But as a hitter, get them big in the box. This is my box. I own it. That's a key. You've got to have that confidence. And when I have my guys do this, I think it's silly when they first do it. But you know what? They start taking it seriously. I've seen a lot of change in the way my hitters get from freshman, sophomore year when they get to be a junior, how they look when they're up at bat. They may still be bad hitters, right? But they look good because they practice. Get control, talk about breathing. A lot of players will touch the bat to the corner of the plate, they'll touch the bat down here. What are they doing that for? See how long the bat is? It's a sign of control. It's just for them, I'm in control of this. This is my area, this is my place, all right? What's your body language like after a strikeout? Is that important for your players? Do you ever work with that? You ever teach them? Or tell them how it looks? If they look, what's their body language like? I want my players to get back in the dugout. Just get back. Get back in the dugout. Nobody's dragging their back. Dun, 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 dun. The guy that's in the movies, going to the prison or whatever. I don't want that. Get back in the dugout. Be positive on everything you do. This is a Ken Revisa term. Avoid stinking thinking, he used to call it. And in his book, this is the image from his book. And these are thinking thoughts, right? Don't strike out. What did I tell you about the brain? Doesn't recognize it. I've got to get a hit or I'll lose my spot. Or I got to get a hit or my dad's not going to like me. Right? This ump is clueless. How many of you have done that as players? I can't touch this guy. I told a story about if I get a hit, I'll be 310. That's the worst one. I don't like to publish set statistics during the season, but we have to because our conference mandates it. So I have to put the game's got to go on the Game Changer, and everybody can read what's happening. But I'd rather have no statistics at all because this is that's what the kids look at. After a pitch, what do? You release, you step out of the box, or you take your left foot out of the box, because in our rules in high school baseball, you have to stay in the box unless it's a foul ball in the dirt. I think there's 7 or 8 different times when you can actually step out of the box. All right, get your sign, clean it out. Some guys clean out the box with their feet, right? I think somebody mentioned the human rain delay already in this clinic. What was his name? The guy from Texas? Mike Hargrove. They call him the human rain delay. Because when after every pitch, he stepped up, he adjusted his batting gloves, he adjusted his shirt, he adjusted his pants, he adjusted his cup. He did all kinds of things. It took him about 45 seconds. Then he got back in the box. It was like a human rain delay. Right? But that was his routine, right? Some guys take off their helmet. What does that do? If you take your hat off, it's like releasing. You're releasing. Maybe you just got a bad call. Guy called a strike, and guy called a ball, and it should have been a strike. Right? We've seen that in Game 7 of the World Series. Take off the helmet, tap the bat again, go, get ready to get back in the box. Right? Just some swing keys. And most of these I've gotten from Perry Husband. Perry's a great hitting instructor. He's been known recently on Major League Baseball channel for his work with something called effective velocity. How many of you have heard that term before? All right, see, and that's a Perry Husband term. But he's a great hitting coach. And every hitter has to load with some kind of leverage. And that means they've got to keep their knee inside their feet. Now, I'm not going to get too much into mechanics. But I'm going to show you some pictures of this stuff, and that's loading with leverage. That's that's a key right there. If this knee gets out here, I've lost my leverage. Pitchers need leverage as well, don't they, Mr. Wilforth? So leverage is key. And one of the key swing keys that I got from Perry Husband a long time ago was load with leverage. The load should be slow, easy, early. It's a timing mechanism. Warren Spahn. Anybody hear that name ever? Couple hands go up. I think greatest left-handed pitcher ever. Maybe 360. Nobody's won. He's won more games than any left-handed pitcher in history of baseball. Pitcher of Milwaukee Braves. So as a kid, I got to watch him play quite a bit. Cost us a quarter to go to a baseball game and sit in the bleachers back then. All right? I got to see him throw. He always said that hitting is timing, and pitching is upsetting timing. So, timing mechanism. Your load is your timing mechanism. So if you do it fast, you're off time. There's some guy, and I can't think of his name now. Everybody, he's on the internet all the time, and he promises to, if you pay him $3,000 or whatever it is, he's going to send you the only one drill you ever need to do for hitters. I can't think of this guy's name. And it's basically about timing. I've never seen the drill, but he talks about timing all the time. So timing is key as a hitter. Starts with the heel. How far does the bat go? Some guys say if you turn in your upper body, the knob of your bat should not go. If you're right-handed, not go past where the second baseman's playing. If you're left-handed, not where the shortstop is. So you don't want to get too wrapped up. Again, I don't want to spend too much time on mechanics. Low with leverage because of mechanical advantage. When you do that and you keep your knee inside your foot, you've got a lever, which makes you stronger. Push off the back side. Look at these pictures. Right? Where's his foot? Just making contact with the ball. His foot's off the ground. I don't know who these guys are anymore. Look at this. We used to teach what? What did you teach kids? Everyone in here probably did it.
We used to
Squish the bug. Right? And we all did it. I'm admitting I did it too. Right? Nobody here is squishing the bug. Look at Bryce Harper swing. He doesn't squish a bug. Right? They're pushing out their backside and they're locking out that front-legged impact. Right? These are swing keys. I'm not going to tell you. There's different ways you can get to that point. That's one of my former players. Unfortunately, it's great. It looks really good, except if you see where the ball is, you missed it. Right? But it looks great. Everything looks good. He's got that. He's locked out. He's got good leverage here. He's up front, pushing out. Not good. There's all kinds of different strides. I'm not going to get into too many of them. There's leg lift. There's toe tap. There's no stride. Joe DiMaggio, he had no stride. On the way over here, I just was reminded of a statistic. Joe DiMaggio is the only guy who ever hit over 300 home runs. Hit more home runs in his career than he struck out. He hit over 300 home runs. He struck out less than 300 times. Fantastic, right? He was a no-stride hitter. So was Paul Mauger. That doesn't mean everybody should be. Somebody might be more comfortable lifting their leg or using the toe tap. Chipper Jones was a toe tapper. I can't think of any modern guys. We stride to swing, not stride and swing. It's one motion. The stride is to swing. It's not to stride and then swing. And so many times, and you've probably all done this too, you do a 4-step drill. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Ever done that? Yeah. Teach hitting with, like when you teach the kids, 1, 2, 3, 4. I fear I used to do that in Germany all the time, back in the 90s. We stride to swing, not stride and swing. You can't hit till the front foot's down. So if you're late, what kind of swing is that going to be? Stride separate. I think John Fulimus talked about striding and separating. John, you in here? Yeah. Right. That's basically what you're doing with that, right? With your hitters. Hit against a firm front side. A number of people will talk about that today. There's 3 types of swing. Now I'm talking about arm path here now. Long to long, and that's a lot of your younger players are going to be. And I wish I had the bat here. They're going to be long to long. The first thing that's going to happen is they drop the bat down here. They drop the bat down here, and now they're just swinging from this point back here all the way through. It's a real long swing. Some are long, and then they just try to shorten things up at the end. Ideally, you want to have a short swing, and that means that these hands aren't going to get away from your body too soon. You're going to be here, 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 until you get to this point here, and now everything extends and extends. So it's short to long. That's what we want to have. Albert Pujols wasn't a bad hitter. These are from, this is from Ted Williams' book on the art of hitting, the science of hitting. This is a picture I took you, just tried to do the same thing with Albert Pujols. Here he is at that point. His hands have started here, they've come in here. This is a short to long swing. Hands above the ball. I think this is something not a lot of people teach, but it should be. Hands stay above the ball. The bat's going to drop down. Brent, on that picture you showed with, who was it from the Yankees? Was that Sanchez?
Yeah,
Where was his hands on it? Do you remember where they were?
they were about shoulder height.
Shoulder height. Were they above the ball or below it?
He's normally below the ball.
Yeah. Okay, so hit the top half of the ball. Hands, the bottom hand controls the plane of the swing. The top hand controls the length and the range. So your bottom hand controls the plane of the swing. The top hand controls the length. This is, I think, is the most under-taught skill in the game for young players. And it's, I call it bat lag. I don't know what else you can call it. It's where the barrel lags behind the hands. So right here, the barrel is still behind the hands. He's almost at contact point. Same here. The hands are in front of the barrel. Where would your kids be at this point? Most of them. Almost 90% of them. The barrel would be out here already. He's still in a good position. What is really making him, there's been so much talk about rotation, what is making him get to this point here? It's the rotation of his hips. All right, the same here. Barrel lies behind the hands. Here's a guy who can do this pretty well. Look where his hands are. Look where the barrel is. This is just before impact. Who is this? Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds would have been a great hitter without all the other stuff. He was a great hitter. This is a drill that I got from Dan Hefner, who's the coach at Dallas Baptist University. And it's a bat lie drill. And this one we do all the time. It's one of our stations in hitting when we do our indoor hitting in the winter when you come in for open gyms and stuff like that. And I tell them what the stations are. We can't really coach them in the winter. I can just be there. So at the end of the season, we go through our stations. Everybody knows what they are. I send them notes in September, October, etc. So they know what we're doing every time they go up here for open gyms. But this is he's got a piece of PVC pipe. You know, the stuff they use for electrical wiring and stuff, or plumbing in houses now. It's white and it's plastic, and we get ones that are about that around. All right. And it's about, well, for me, it'd be like 48 inches. So 48 inches, how many meters is that? 1 meter, what's 48 inches? 1 meter 12. 1 meter 12, maybe? Okay. It's just a long pipe. And they're going to hold it here in the front of their body. Because what we're trying to do here is to teach them to keep their hands close to their body, and teach them to use their backside, use their hips before they release their hands. And here's, I'll show you the drill. It should run, hopefully. Notice where his hands stay in. He doesn't get his hands away from his body. It's a full swing. The bat is lagging behind his hands, basically. Look at his hip rotation. It's a great drill to teach that skill. And this is going to be, you'll get this. This is going to be on the website. I already gave it to Luke to put up. Here's the side presentation, the same thing. He calls it a fat bar. I just call it a fat bat or whatever. Same thing. At first it's hard because they don't want to swing hard, but I want them to swing hard with this. You've got to get full explosion here. And you can hit all different parts of the net or the cage. But notice his hands stay close to his body. And the bat, this is teaching the barrel to lag behind the hands. All right? And I'm not going to stop. This is another thing from Ted Williams. When I run camps for kids, I've always done this. Kids make their own little chart. This was a chart inside of his book. This was Ted Williams. And today we call these hot zones, right? This would all be done on the kinds of things that Brent showed you with the analytics and the red dots, etc. But his hot zone was right here. His bad zone was here. And here he hit 420, 440. His lifetime average was something about 340 at baseball. I think he was, everyone says he was probably the best hitter who ever lived. All right? Great hitter. I have my kids at camps build their own strike zone. Letters to knees, 17 inches wide. Hang it up on a wall. Practice your swing. You're not going to swing into the wall, obviously, but practice hitting those dots. Take a baseball, trace a baseball all over that box. Know your own strike zone. And there's how it looks. After your bat, what did you do? What did you learn? This is hanging there in dugout. So when you're finishing that bat, you're supposed to look at these things. What did you learn from your at bat? What did it tell you? Were you early? Were you late? Were you unfocused? What did you learn from your at bat? What would you do differently? Sometimes I'll ask players this after a game. All right? I won't ask them right after an at bat. I might ask them a little bit later. What would you do differently? What would you do differently? Make an adjustment. How many of your players are adjusting is something I think we have to teach more of as coaches. You've got to be able to adjust, to change. I'll tell you another personal story. I love golf. Right? I was a pretty darn good golfer. I had a 10 handicap at one time. There was on my home course was a par 4. It was an upper 8 hole, par 3. Had a lake between the tee and the green. On the left side was all kind of like the open area. On the right side of the green was more lake. For me, it was a 4-iron, I thought. Right? We're playing in a tournament. I hit the 4-iron. Pure plop. Maybe about 3-4 yards short. So I took out another ball, put it down. Guess what happened? Same thing. Now I go get another ball. I could have just taken a drop. But I hit it over to the left side, taking an easy swing and maybe got it to the green. So now I'm hitting 5. Same thing. I went up with a 17 in that hole. I didn't do this. I didn't make the adjustment. I didn't change. John Scalinas, who was a great coach, Cal Poly Pomona, told a story at a clinic. Classic. You know how, if there was a fly in this room right now, right, and one of these windows is open a little bit, what would that fly try to do? Does the fly want to stay in this room? What does he want to do? He wants to get out. So if you got a window open just a little bit of crack, that fly's going to fly around and try to find that opening. It doesn't always find it, boom. He'll zoom around again, maybe buzz your ear, try again, boom, maybe he doesn't find it. A third or fourth try, he finds that opening and gets out, right? He calls his first baseman and tells him that story about the fly. And he says, here's you. This is a window. Remember, this is a window. Here's you. This is how you dodge. Trying to buzz your way and break your way through that window. It was me on that hole where I got 17. It was going to happen, no matter what. I didn't make any adjustment. And if you don't adjust, you're never going to be a good hitter. Forgive yourself. We all do things wrong. Yeah. Forgive yourself. Don't carry it with you to the outfield. How many of your players do that? They carry stuff with them. Let it go. Flush it. We have a toilet in the dugout. Another Ken Revista thing. I paid $25 for this on eBay. I finally found one, right? Way too much money. It's a plastic toilet about this big, and it's got a battery in it, so you push the handle, it actually makes it flush itself. So we flush it. This was Cal State. Cal State Fullerton won a couple World Series. When Ken was working with Cal State Fullerton, he implemented this, put it in the dugout. It was a way for a player to have, after a bad at-bat, to go in there and kind of try to flush it out of your system. Let it go. Evaluate your at-bat. Was it quality? Were you in control? Did you use your routine? Did you understand your role? Players should be thinking about this after they're finished hitting. Do you have it commit to your plan? How did you see the ball? Did you make hard contact? Did you get a hit? That's the least important thing. This is a mantra of ours. It's all over our workout area, one pitch at a time. Earl Weaver said, one pitch, one batter at a time, one inning at a time, one game at a time. Don't try to think too far ahead. Don't worry about the next pitch. Forget the last pitch. All right, I have another presentation I give on here all the time. Oral Hershiser says the next thing on my mind is the next pitch. Next pitch. So what? Next pitch. Right. We have a ball hanging in our hitting batting cages. I had the shop drill a hole through it. We had it hanging on a rope. It's got the number 1 on it. One pitch at a time. One ball at a time. All right. Get big in the box. Use a mirror. Amazing. What do ballet dancers do? What do they do to practice their... Why do they have all these mirrors in ballet studios? Why? Can you tell me?
They're looking good.
Yeah. They're looking at their form and their technique. Nothing wrong with a mirror. Have your pitchers work in front of the mirror. Have a batter work in front of the mirror. And I'm going to end it with this one here, because my time is up. But I just wanted to give you some ideas of a mental approach that you can use with hitters that works. Get your players to be focused, to be relaxed, to think a little bit, and you'll have better hitters. So thanks for your attention. And I'm going to bring up the number 9 hitter in a second here, because I just got on base, and he's the pitcher, and he's got to bump me in, bump me over. So thanks a lot, guys.